Hi, I'm Maya. Welcome to my channel. I love it that you're here. Today I wanted to talk about what attachment love for outward fearful avoidance is. What is AT or attachment love? Well, that's when the outward fearful avoidance nervous system marks someone as highly significant and never lets go. To add some nuance, it's not literally forever, never ever letting go, but it will not change until they truly heal. So what happens? Before attachment love, this lovely meaningless life once upon a time when they weren't haunted in their system. But for real, outward fearful avoidance were never with anyone in a grounded way whatsoever, because they were just running their survival patterns. They could talk, date, connect, even look like they care, do the whole human thing, even though they felt more dead than alive. So whatever they did before attachment love, it was not coming from a real emotional presence. It was coming from validation, attention, fitting in, ego regulation. Fun, not so fun fact: outward fearful avoidance do not walk into anything in life asking, what do I actually want? No, because they learned early on in their childhood, needs are too much. Vulnerability is unsafe. Having emotions equals exposure. So instead, they walk around performing, adapting, mirroring, people-pleasing, also known as surviving at all cost. They can look chill and funny, deep, even secure, while being emotionally about 0.2% actually present on a good day. Also, saying no is not exactly their strongest superpower. So, with that said, they are operating from survival, not connection. So now, let's fast forward. They meet someone. Same pattern starts. They come in intense, charming, expressive, magnetic. But again, that's not so special because they do that with many people. Actually with everyone. Unless they are too burnt out to give a damn. Because their system goes, connecting equals surviving. Or connecting equals surviving. And connecting does not have to be really emotional. But then something happens, because instead of, okay, next person, boring, also known as new dopamine, thanks, now their system goes, well, wait a damn minute, did I just feel that? I want to stay. And now suddenly they're not so cocky anymore. Because their armor they are so reliant on and protect at all costs failed all of the sudden. Because this is new. They're not just simulated anymore. They are emotionally activated now. And when we say this scares the living hell out of them, well, this is pretty much an understatement. Because they try to dismiss it like this will pass. But newsflash, it does not pass. And now they're in danger. At least their system, their nervous system thinks so. Because for outward fearful avoidance, safety equals exposure. And exposure equals loss of control. And loss of control equals threat. So even though they feel, want and connect, they also panic, test and self-sabotage. Now let the fun begin. If the person they fall for does not chase, does not pressure, but stays consistent, sees through the mask, and still has the nerve to question them, then they are, oh damn, this is something I do not have a script for. Because first of all, people usually never crack my defense. And second of all, well, how dare you? Because for real, their system starts saying, oh freak, this is real. And that is exactly what they cannot handle. So what do? They push, they pull, they distance, they come back, rinse and repeat. Until eventually they cannot tolerate the activation anymore. And to be very clear, a about what those things they do actually mean, those are not little things, but those things can be cheating or neglect or abandonment, emotional abuse. Not just not replying for 2 days or 4 weeks. It is a freaking circus from hell back and forth. And then they shut down hard. Because staying, that means they're going to have to face all the freaking mess they just made. And not just that, they also have to look at the reality of who they chose to be. They are not the image they claim to be, and that is hard for the ego, because that image is not just some fun thing they do. It's literally their survival image. And that's also why it does not crack. Just because you lay out facts about how they behaved, because as long as they do not look at it, they get to stay in denial. And there's also a fun part 2.0. Even after they leave, their system does not forget, because it cannot. Because attachment love, it's not just I liked you. It is my nervous system encoded you as highly significant. Basically, attachment love becomes a tattoo in their system. And yes, they date other people, sleep next to someone else, act normal, even have a kid with another human being, and still they think about their attachment love. Compare attachment love with everyone and everything. Feel the imprint of attachment love deep, and not because they're just some romantic lost soulmate, but because the body does not forget that level of activation. Because that experience checks all the boxes for strong memory encoding. And their brain treats it as important for survival. In other words, do not lose access. The obvious. This does not mean it was healthy at all. And it is unfortunate that I need to say this, but just to be safe, all it means that it was deeply encoded in them. Attachment love equals a strong imprint plus real attachment. And yes, they can feel real things with others too. But before you start feeling nauseous, to be realistic, obviously, if they have not healed, they will never open at that level again. They will not feel real things like that with the next person, because the first time they ran, as you could probably tell. So after that, their system goes never, ever, ever again at that depth. Like it literally feels like a phobia. They are terrified of feeling that deep again, especially since it was nothing they ever planned or even knew was possible in the first place. Because they have been in so many talking stages, been with people, been in relationships, and still never felt that deep. They can like people, play a role, feel attraction, feel like they enjoy someone's presence. But they have not felt that deep imprint like with attachment love. I don't know how to explain it. It feels like someone plugged into their soul, and then with attachment love gone, it ripped out. So no, unless they actually heal, it will never happen again. They will not forget attachment love, and not because it was perfect or because it was the one or soulmate or you can't find it anywhere else, but because it was the first time they felt something real, and they have absolutely no clue how to stay in that, how to hold that, because even if people might have seen them before or even after, it doesn't really matter in them. It only matters when they feel it. And the time they felt it, that was with attachment love. But now listen carefully. Being someone's attachment love is not a flex. It means you stayed, you tolerated, you overgave, while they were an inconsiderate, egocentric, inconsistent jerk. So do not romanticize this. What happens next? So what happens when we throw biological love into the mix here? Well, they get Nuke 2.0, truly not even funny. When it becomes attachment love plus biological love, their system does not just attach, it locks the hell in. And the key is nowhere to be found. Why? Because this combo hits all the systems at once. Dopamine, also known as reward. This is, I want more of this person. Oxytocin, also known as bonding. This feels safe and familiar. Amygdala, also known as emotional tagging, saying, this is important. Okay, and now the really messed up part? Intermittent reinforcement. We've all heard it, also known as get closeness then distance, get connection then confusion. And that pattern, we'll talk more about that on this channel, that is the strongest learning pattern the brain has. So their system goes, I need to keep tracking this person, and then there's no closure, no clear ending, no emotional completion. So their brain keeps the file open like, we're not done here. And now, all of this together, that creates attachment love plus biological love, also known, they do not just feel something, their body literally remembers attachment love as something important and unfinished. And that is why it feels like they cannot move on, why they keep thinking about attachment love, while their body reacts uncontrollably. In simple terms, it is not just love. It is love plus addiction pattern plus the unfinished loop. And that is why it sticks like a permanent tattoo in their system until they heal. Excuse me. Also, did you notice something? They nuke themselves into this by their own freaking circus, because they didn't just fall for attachment love, they trained their nervous system on them actually without even realizing it. So, the $1 million question now is, why that person? Well, it very much depends on the state their system was in when they met attachment love. Because they can meet 20,000 people with similar trait and feel nothing. Because if their system is shut down, distracted, not letting anyone in, nothing gets encoded. But then that one day they meet someone and that person comes into their life when their system is slightly more open, slightly more tired of running, slightly more off guard, or simply said, not fully defended, and that person carries a very specific pattern, and now they do not decide to let attachment love in. Attachment love crack their defenses. They have no choice. In a way, they are actually victims. But for real, attachment love does crack their defenses, not by chasing, not by forcing, but by something far worse for them, and that is safety. And attachment love did not trigger their usual alarms early, so their system did not shut it down in time. Attachment love just had the patience and safety they had never felt before. And with that magic combination, they let them in. And that is where real activation starts, and respectfully, then they are cooked. Closeness, then panic, then distance, then return. And that is where attachment love begins building. So sure, they might have met familiar people before, but they never let it go that far. Because usually, they're also especially good at choosing dynamics where they still have control. Also known as where they can be needed, have the upper hand, play the role. Stay emotionally safe by keeping the focus on the other person, also known as I'm the one giving and responsible position. But then they meet attachment love, and now they're not only just not needed, now their attachment love system was basically saying, I do not need you. And their systems responded with, challenge accepted. And then they do everything to crack their defenses with their very specific pattern. And no, they are not consciously thinking, let me pull this person in so I can mess them up real good later. No, this is honestly how their system learned to connect in childhood. They read people, they adapt, they mirror, they move closer. It is automatic. But just because it is automatic, that does not mean they're not responsible for it. Because obviously, they can feel themselves doing something. They just do not stop it. But remember, this is new for them too. So they are clueless about what's going to happen. They just enjoy the ride until they drive themselves right into the concrete and, well, run like a coward. They don't know how to deal with it. Basically, now they're well and truly stuck because they let someone in and they need that someone now. And that is where everything flips, because now they actually have something to lose and they actually care about that person. And now they lost the upper hand too. And they realize they never learned how to stand without it. And that is terrifying for a system that only knows how to survive through control. So what do? They try to destroy it, because now they are exposed to the truth, which is they do not actually have the capacity to hold something they care about that deeply. And that is what they cannot face. So they go back to what feels familiar: distance, control, victim mentality. Roles where they have the upper hand, because in that position they do not risk exposure. And exposure of what? Exposure of the fact that they abandoned themselves so hard years ago that all they have left is a fake survival image, and that they choose that same image over the only person they actually ever let in and felt real and true love for. And to answer the question, why do they not fight for love? They just do not. That's the truth. It's not that they cannot. They can, but they will not. They do not want love more than they want control. And those two things simply cannot coexist. Love requires staying, being seen, being vulnerable, risking loss. And control requires nothing. Just distance, just shutting down, just keeping the upper hand. And guess which one feels safer? So when it comes down to it, they choose the option where they do not have to face themselves. Because fighting for love would mean admitting they actually care, they actually need, they actually can lose something. And that exposes everything they have been avoiding their entire life.